Dear Mon Pa MAGA, buckle the hell up because we're about to take a joyride through the dystopian show you're cheerleading for. Let's talk about what it's actually like to live under a dictatorship, since you freedom fry faux patriots seem to think tyranny is just a big old MAGA tailgate party. Spoiler alert, it's not beer and barbecue, it's fear, poverty, and a boot stomping on your face forever. But sure, keep waving those flags, Captain Constitution for Dummies. You're about as patriotic as a bald eagle and a Russian nesting doll. Dictatorships don't come with free Wi-Fi and fireworks, my dude. They come with secret police, censorship, and a whole lot of shut the fuck up or disappear. You think you're gonna be out there posting memes about dear leader when he's in charge? Nope. Your Facebook feed will be state propaganda 24/7. And if you so much as tweet a complaint, you'll get a knock on the door at 3 a.m. That's the reality. Ask the people of North Korea, Venezuela, or any other country where leaders decided the law didn't apply to them. Spoiler, it sucks. It's not freedom. It's not greatness. It's a goddamn nightmare. You think you're going to be exempt from all of that because you bought a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt? Newsflash, Colonel Clueless, authoritarian regimes don't give a shit about your loyalty. They'll take your guns, your money, and your freedom, and they won't even send you a thank you card. You're not getting a seat at the table. You're not even getting a chair in the waiting room. You're just another sucker who helped hand over the keys to the kingdom. And let me hit you with some cold, hard facts. In dictatorships, the economy doesn't thrive, it tanks. The rich get richer, not you, obviously, and everyone else starves. Inflation skyrockets, wages plummet, and good luck trying to start that small business you've been dreaming about. Oh, and healthcare, education, basic human rights? You can kiss those goodbye too. You'll be too busy standing in line for bread and hoping today's not the day the government decides to reallocate your house. Sounds fun, right? That's the future you're cheering for, Patriot McFreedom Face. You think you're a badass rebel for supporting someone who wants to trash the Constitution? Nah, you're just a useful idiot. The Founding Fathers didn't fight a revolution so you could sell out democracy for a red hat and a bumper sticker. They fought for checks and balances, for the rule of law, and for a government that serves the people, not one that treats them like disposable pawns. But hey, keep licking boots, Sergeant Sycophant. Maybe if you're really lucky, they'll let you shine their shoes while they strip away your rights. And if you're so eager to live under a dictatorship, why don't you pack your bags and move to one? Go ahead. See how much fun it is when you can't protest, can't vote, and can't even speak your mind without risking your life. Meanwhile, I'll be here, defending the Constitution you pretend to care about, because someone has to. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got better things to do than babysit your eggshell fragile fucking egos. And my guest this week is the one and only Stephanie Miller. Steph has become a really true friend, and when we are on her show, the Stephanie Miller Show, on the Progress Channel, I'm not allowed to swear. But when she comes on my show, or I go on her Happy Hour podcast, we can swear all f***ing day long. Steph keeps me safe. She keeps me sane-ish. She makes me feel seen, and she makes me laugh, and I love her. So, enjoy. Well, this is an exciting day for this little Joe from Jersey, because my darling, beautiful friend Stephanie Miller is fucking here for the first time ever on the Are You Effing Kidding Me podcast. Hi, Steph.
I love that. I just said, can I swear? And you're like, fucking A, yeah.
Oh, yes. Fuck yes. Yes, please. Yes. Hi. You can swear palooza. I mean, I don't know that YouTube loves that, but I don't give a fuck either.
Yeah, well, now that if I'm unbound from the FCC, I'm going to fucking, cunt palooza.
That was my Sunday night, actually. It's funny that you say that. So Steph, hi. How are you holding up? And we have some news, overnight news to talk about. But how are you holding up overall?
Oh my God, it is a shit show of epic proportions. People like you and I that are supposed to put this into words. How do you even cover? Like, Mondays are the worst. You have to cover 3 days of complete fuckery.
Yeah.
Blatant illegality. And I mean, we're here. We're JoJo, we're where you and I have talked about. We are in the constitutional crisis. He has defied a court order. He has said Biden's pardons are null and void. He literally is breaking the law on an hourly basis.
Yeah.
And, who's going to stop him? Us and what army? His army, right?
Exactly. And I kept every interview I have basically done with anybody who's an expert of any kind, I've asked them the same question. What happens when he defies the court orders? Like, what do we do then? And they were all like, and then there was just like, well, we have a constitutional crisis. And then it's like, and?
Yes.
What then? And then there's no what then? There's no
Yeah.
what then.
We're,
There's
we're,
no
in
like,
we're in a constitutional improv, yes, and now what the fuck? Because you're right, and plus, of course, they're always full of shit. They're like, oh no, we didn't defy the court order, and of course, the timeline ABC just laid out, they absolutely did. They're like, oh no, we didn't know because the judge clearly said turn the planes around.
Yep.
And here's the thing, Joe, is they're such evil motherfuckers because they know they want to put Democrats politically in a position of going, no, we want Venezuelan gang members to stay here. And so they don't give a fuck what's legal. Like,
no.
Forget fuck due process or, any kind of rule of law. I mean,
Right.
Thom Holman just said, I don't care what the judges say. I mean, this is where we are.
And then like, right. Then it's like, I know you are, but what am I? This is the game you end up in. Well, that's like, that's your recourse. And can I ask you this? Because we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
The Democrats who voted for the cloture on that continuing resolution, do you, first of all, how do you feel about that? Secondly, do you think that they have now, do you feel like he's gotten much worse, much faster since then? Is it my imagination?
Thank you. Let me say, I think they can go fuck themselves with the Planet Hoth without lube, if that's not clear enough. But Joe, I just said that this morning on the show. Is one of Chuck Schumer's big reasons was, because if we shut down the government, that the courts are closed, and that's the only place we're winning. The courts, and it's like, well, how the fuck's that working now, Chuck? They're not listening to judges. They're not listening to court orders. They're trying to say that they can overturn Joe Biden's pardon and prosecute January 6th investigators because it was signed by AutoPen. So were all of Trump's fucking. I mean, they just are making shit up as they go along.
Yeah, and getting away with it, because again, who's what like police force, what like superhero is going to come in and be like, well, actually, you can't do that. Like no one, because Congress is like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy cutting off my own penis. Check back with us next week. Like, honest to God, the thing with the fucking pardons and the auto pen shit, I wrote about that this morning. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter if he signed it with Penn and Teller. It doesn't fucking matter. The Constitution is funny. That would be funny. One of them would make a lot of noise.
Especially the one that doesn't talk. It wouldn't make any noise. And just, yeah.
But the Constitution is very clear. I don't know if you've ever met Kim Whaley. Kim Whaley is a friend of Glenn Kirshner. He introduced me to her. She's fucking amazing. I think she's in Norway now, doing a lucky thing that for democracy over there. She is a constitutional scholar, and she wrote a whole book about pardons, a whole fucking book about pardons. She's the person you should be talking to. We should all be talking to right now, because she cleared it up for me without any question at all. This pardon power is absolute. It is, you cannot do anything. You can't vacate it. You can't void it. You can't override it. It doesn't matter if you signed it with Sharpie. It doesn't fucking matter. But they're out there saying, auto pen. They're not.
Joe, what's distressing is Trump has always fucking outrun the law and the courts, like the career criminal that he is. So it's not a surprise that this latest thing, they move faster. Their criminality moves faster than the courts and the judges can move. And so now what? Now they're on foreign soil, and the whole thing. It's Joe. Nobody's for waste, fraud, and abuse. Nobody is for illegal immigration, but we believe in a rule of law. There has to be due process. I mean, I don't fucking believe any of them. Look at them trying to deporting a Palestinian activist by just saying he's aligned with Hamas. It's right. Like, they're disappearing people. I mean, that's what rights are, having rights and a due process. They're not doing any of that.
And all those people who are arguing, this is what I voted for, they're gang members, they should be deported. Like you said, they're disappearing people without any justification or any due process. Why anyone would think that it'll stop with them, that it will stop with Venezuelan supposed gang members we're not even sure about, that it'll stop with the Gaza protesters. How could you think, oh, well, they have a morality. There's a certain standard. An average person like me can't just be disappeared. They can't come into my home for no reason and take me because I ran my mouth out shit they didn't want to hear. Of course they can. And it's not going to stop with me either. They're not going to be able to shoot up fucking Bud Light if they don't stop this right now. They're not going to have any rights either.
Listen, this is why it's important that potty mouths like you and I exist, because when he says, when and that monstrosity was 3 days ago at the DOJ, where
Yeah,
basically any speech that criticizes him
it's
is
illegal.
illegal. I mean, I say fuck that and fuck you. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yep.
I mean, and I'm laughing. I'm like, really, CNN and MSNBC are illegal, and Fox News actually had to pay $1 billion for lying to their audience about the election. That was illegal. That's why
Right.
they had to pay merely $1 million. But I mean, I'm like, how's that, trip to kiss Trump's ring at Mar-a-Lago going, Joe and Mika? How's bending the knee going for people that are kissing the ring, right?
Right. And it's again another cautionary tales. It's like that's like such a sweet thing now to even think about cautionary tales. But just like with these Democrats who went along with the cloture, and then most of them didn't even vote for the fucking CR because they knew it's garbage. They all complied, obeyed in advance. Tim Snyder says, "Don't do that." Right? They did it anyway. And what happens, like you said at the beginning, the courts were holding, and now that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the courts were shut down. It wouldn't have mattered if federal workers were going to, be put on furlough during the shutdown. All
Yeah,
of those things are happening anyway, and you
yeah,
just look like an idiot standing there holding his fucking water.
yeah. I mean, and I think you're right, Joe. It's not just our imagination that he's even more emboldened since they
Mm-hmm.
did this Friday. I mean, when Chuck Schumer, here's a tip: when Donald Trump is giving you an attaboy, you didn't make the right decision. I mean, I just think Senate Democrats have got to replace the leadership because, Joe, you and I and all of it, we can't give up. We have
Mm-hmm.
to seize this moment. I love that Tim Walz and all these people are going to town halls
Yeah.
because Republicans won't show up because they're too big of pussies. So we have to seize this moment. And Chuck Schumer is just not reading the room. He's not meeting the moment. And
No.
the people that are the Tim Walz and Jasmine Crockett and Senator Murphy and Tina Smith, and there are people, AOC, that are messaging really well and with the urgency. I mean, Chris Murphy said this morning, I don't know if we have a year left in this democracy. That's how urgent this is.
Yeah.
Fuck the midterms or 2028. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we've got to meet this moment now.
Exactly. And like people forget, past his prologue, Hitler moved very, very fucking quickly. Like he was in and in power, and it was like oh holy shit, the whole thing was upside down within a matter of, I think, maybe a month, right? It was very, very quick, and Trump is speeding this shit up fast. And for Chuck Schumer to be going on a book tour as he's like playing footsie with the four horsemen of the apocalypse is literally fucking insane.
Well,
Now he's
I,
not going on his book tour now. Now he's what,
I was just going
postponing
to
and
say,
canceled it.
breaking news breaks is he's
Yeah,
canceled his tour, thank God, due to Democratic anger, because it's real, Joe. Their anger is real. That
yeah,
we're out here fighting for our lives. We're all scared. We're all
yes,
scared, Joe. But you can either model courage or you can model cowardice,
yeah.
and what, both are contagious. And so it's just that what happens when you appease bullies? How does that work out? You
Right,
know,
right.
these
Every bully I've ever known in my life, when you stand up to them, they back the fuck down. That
yeah.
every single bully is really a pussy. Is really just a weakling coward
Look at
who,
Canada. Look
yeah,
at Canada. When you push Canadians, I mean, to the point where I was like this morning, I was like, oh my God, Canada just broke up with us. Like, literally, Carney, the prime minister, said, we're done with America. And
yeah.
I thought, how long is it going to take us to ever get our reputation back in the world, or for people to ever trust us again, that we're not going to elect another fucking lunatic?
I mean, I heard France talking about, Europe leaning into their nuclear program, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about the Voices of America thing too, because I was listening to some content on that this morning on NPR, which is one I still actually sometimes listen to. People don't realize like how impactful that has been for deterring, other groups, other countries, bad actors
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
coming in, disinformation from being
Well,
spread. People don't understand.
it's to combat Russian disinformation. So, of
Right.
course, I mean, how much more obvious? It's like the biggest, dumbest movie plot ever. Of course,
Yeah.
he's a fucking Russian asset. He's a traitor. He always has been. He is like literally ticking down Putin's wish list. And it's just, I don't know what, Joe, I just think, I guess the founders didn't really think there would be another entire party of traitors or cowards or whatever you want to call them, and an unelected foreign billionaire that's threatening them with primaries. That I mean, you can't write this shit. that he's completely subsidized by the American taxpayer, and he's cutting our Social Security and Medicare, which he calls fraud and waste. I mean, it has the feeling of like the French Revolution. I have a stack now that I call "Let Him Eat Cake." It's just like that. It's the "Let Him Eat Cake" stack. Does the dear leader? I mean, you feel like you're taking crazy pill that he is literally imploding the United States and world economy, shattering all of our allies, our allies around the world. And his party is nominating for the Nobel Prize, putting him on the money, and they're going to carve him in Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Like, what's her name? Anna Paulina Lunatic in Florida. She literally has a "Let's Get Carbon" act. I'm like, oh my God. This is like the crazy has been turned up like way past 11, right?
And yes, his polling on the economy is underwater, but he has according to NBC anyway, is the highest approval rating he's ever had. It's still less than the majority of Americans, but it's the highest approval rating he's ever had. Yeah. What the literal fuck?
I know. Well, I mean, he's still underwater, which people are not like good at approval raises. 47 approved, 50 something disapproved. But you're right, Joe, and I'm afraid that it's the same disinformation that got us here. Is there still whatever percentage of the cult that believes these obvious lies? I mean, did you see Kellyanne Conway and Trump? They're like, egg prices are way down, consumer confidence is way up. Like, everything they say is the opposite of what's true. And I just have to hope that, like Ro Khanna said, like, propaganda doesn't work when reality overtakes it. I mean, how much are you going to tell people everything's going great when their retirement account is gone, eggs are $20? I mean,
I think what they're counting on is that they're going to have, there's the levers of our ability to do something about it will be beyond our reach.
Yeah.
That's what I think they're counting on.
We have to break through this tribalism. I think it was Rachel Bittencofer was talking about, a poll like the day after the election. Like, they literally, when Biden was in charge, it's like, oh, it's terrible. And then it's Trump, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
They had to convince people that Biden's great economy was bad. And now they're trying to convince people that Trump's shitty economy is good. And that's part of what, but people reflexively, like when Biden was in, Republicans were like, oh, no, the economy's horrible. And then literally the next day, oh, no, it's all great now because Trump. And it's just, there's no truth that any of this is based on.
And the converse of that is actually true. Biden's economy was the envy of the world. We had the best recovery from COVID of all of our peer nations. And Donald Trump's, like you said, our economy is tanking. Our stock market is tanking. Yeah. Prices are increasing. Consumer confidence is lowering. Jobs are lowering. And all of the metrics are going in the wrong direction. But they're telling us now that a recession is uncomfortable for a little while. All this stuff, like Americans don't really want cheaper goods.
Yeah. Right? Oh, now it's patriotic. And by the way, everyone go fuck themselves that were like lecturing Democrats endlessly about you have to stop talking down to people and people don't feel like it's a good economy. And you just keep telling them it's a good economy. It's like, okay, well, good luck now. I mean, you're the ones talking down to your voters now, telling them everything's great. But when it clearly is fucking not,
While in running away from town halls, if you have them at all, then you say that they're paid actors. I wish the Democrats could get our shit together enough to have a fucking town hall full of paid actors. But let's be real, friends. Like, we can't seem to coordinate over paddles or no paddles at a fucking state of the disunion. I don't think we're going to be. There's no budget in the pizza place basement for paid actors. But they're literally gaslighting people in real time into not believing that even the people who are disapproving of what's happening to them are real. That's where we are.
Right. I mean, consumer confidence is like an all-time low. I saw like this picture of the people standing on the wing of the American Airlines flight with the smoke coming up. And it just said, I've never seen a better meme for America right now. I mean, because you see the America logo on half of America, and it's just people on the stand. This is the 14th air disaster since he's been president or near disaster. And I'm like, oh my God, Joe, I'm flying next week. And I'm fucking terrified. I mean, and I'm going, you can't really, the exploding rocket guy. We're going to put him in charge of the FAA. They're recalling Teslas because shit's fall, like doors are flying off.
It does feel as though if you and I were to sit down, have some drinks, and write out what what kind of Frankenfuck we would need to design to destroy our country from within and without, right? All the things we would need to do to really just crash our economy, destroy our country. What would we do? And it feels like that's what we're looking at. It
Yeah.
feels like from every, like, yeah, crashing planes so that people are, there's chaos and people are afraid to fucking fly, you know, the crashing economy, losing our allyships. Like now we're at war with Canada. It definitely feels like he is there to break everything.
Yeah. Well, that's what everybody says. Like if you installed Putin, you couldn't do a better job destroying, you know, I mean, it's like the, you know, Khrushchev quote, everybody says, we'll take America without firing a shot. You know, and it's, I don't know, Joe, like what you're feeling, because I know you and I tend to be like, you know, hopium salesmen.
Yeah.
Happy clappy, because, you know, you have to be, because they count on despair.
Yeah.
And humor is our power. It's our weapon.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is what they're counting on, that we're overwhelmed and exhausted and we go to just despair and we give up.
Yeah.
And we just cannot fucking do that.
No. And that you, first of all, I love that about you. I'll take some straight up hopium any day of the week coming from you. You could be my dealer of that any day, inject it into my veins, because they do want, that is the goal, right? They do want us disheartened. They want us to disengage. They want us to give in to the despair and just give up. And we can't. And as long as we don't, we still have more than a fighting chance, because remember, they don't really have this massive mandate, right? Most of the country is not actually in favor of this shit.
We always say when they go low, we go Jasmine Crockett. That's the kind of energy. Remember how we, at the DNC, we launched each other into famous people like human projectiles? Remember? Like, Jasmine Crockett, go! And I'd be like, yeah, look, it's go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I talked to Jasmine Crockett, and I'm telling you, there's a reason wherever you are on the spectrum on the Democratic side, we want them to fight. Whether you're liberal, progressive, moderate, whatever, you can't do bipartisan outreach to fascism.
No.
You know, we have to fight. I keep saying all of the above. You have to fight in every way we can right now and show the base and independents that you're going to fight for them. That, you know, I mean, because you almost think like, oh my God, they're just like Trump and the Republic are like self-imploding with everything that's happening. Just stand back. But, you know, you really can't. You've got to say, yes, we're not that. But, you know, I mean, I just read a heartbreaking article, Joe, on how Kamala Harris literally called all of this so specifically, like every single thing, right? And that's heartbreaking. But here we are.
And I think you mentioned Tim Walz and what Bernie and AOC are doing, and I think that is crucially important right now, because they are also showing up and showing how you fight, right? But what they're doing is also it's laying this shit where it belongs, at the feet of the people who are responsible for it, at the feet of Phony Stark and his poopy pants President Trump, right? They own this. The feckless, fucking, unbelievably self-gelding Republicans who just go along with all of this, they own this. And they're not showing up in these places because they know that they're going to be called out. They know it's going to get uncomfortable. They know they can't answer for this cowardice. But Tim Walz, Bernie, AOC, going into these districts where those people are like, I don't have a job anymore. My daughter with cancer doesn't have health care anymore. My wife can't go to the, gynecologist anymore. Whatever the fuck it is, like, they're freaking out. And the Democrats should be, all of them should be going into those districts and saying, I have a plan to help you out of this, but here's who's responsible for this. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking this is normal, or that this is our fault, or that this is Biden's fault, because they're still doing that too. Yeah. This is their fault.
You're obviously began as a social media star. I mean, look at this. Just as we're talking, like, everything is doom scrolling now, right? Some of it I can't even believe. I have to fact check it. I was like, oh, they're erasing, Black people and women and whatever, veterans from the Arlington where my parents are buried. They just deported a child recovering from brain cancer who's a legal resident. They're like, I see. They just denied dog food for the TSA dogs. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, it's like Cruella de Vil.
Seriously.
The Joker running the country. It's awful. It's just, Like they keep saying the cruelty is the point.
Oh yeah. That's yeah.
I just read a headline before I talked to you. Milwaukee mother deported to Laos, a country she's never been to, doesn't know anyone, and doesn't speak the language. Like, with no process.
My Substack for tomorrow, I had to write an emergency Substack this morning because of all the shit that happened overnight, basically, where he was like, I have war powers, we're not at war. And then NPR's like, well, let's talk about the timeline. He's like, what are you fucking doing? And then this pardon thing. But my story for tomorrow, my essay for tomorrow is about that little girl with brain cancer and her family, and how they were she had to leave because her parents were being deported, even though they've committed no crimes except for coming back and forth between Mexico and here, so that their daughter, and by the way, they have an infant son too, who needs medical help that he got in the United States. They were all deported. But because I wrote about that, because what really, as a mom, but like also what really fucking pissed me off about it is that Piers Morgan and all those other fucking blowhards tried to make us feel like pieces of shit because some Democrats didn't stand up and clap for DJ, who is a warrior and a hero at the State of the Disunion thing when Trump used him as a prop. He used him as a prop. They nearly fucking shit canned Wallace.
I mean, he's the one that's just shameless fucking. I mean, that he used this little kid as a prop when he cut pediatric cancer funding. I mean, Democrats have every right to call that out.
Right. And now we see this child who is in need, critical life-saving need of the treatment she was receiving here and getting. And they're like, nah, fuck it. Go. You're gone. You're out. Take your whole family with you. Like, the cruelty is the point. Because how else can you
I hate to say this, Joe, when they go with Trump voters that show regret, leopards eating my face party.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I didn't vote for this. It's like, no, you didn't vote for you voted for this to happen to other people, not to you. And so, I hate to say it, Joe, but I feel like, Chris, my co-host, always says like, oh, you can't call them stupid or whatever. You're not going to win them over. I'm like, they don't give a shit what I say. They're still going to hate me. What's going to bring them back is the same way we lost them, selfishness, because it's happening to them, and that's like sad. I'm like, oh, you voted to hurt me, and but you shot yourself in the face instead. I mean, it's always says that. Like, how does it feel to shoot yourself when you were aiming for a black person?
Part, yeah.
And so that's the thing is, I have to think, Joe, like, it is happening. That whole ad, he's for us, she's for they, them. Yeah. It's like, well, you're finding out that we were for all of us. We were for you. He's not for you. Like he's going to fucking, we're all in the same flaming Tesla going off the cliff, right?
He doesn't care who he hurts. He's hurting his own voters. He's hurting them by and large, right? Like so many of these federal workers, so many of these veterans voted for him. Farmers voted for him. I mean, like all these manufacturing executives who can't afford steel and lumber and to build their products anymore. These are people who voted for him, and they're acutely feeling it. And some of them are saying, I didn't vote for this. Unfortunately, like you said, well, but you did. But some of them are still saying, no, this is what I voted for. I voted for him to shit on the Constitution. I voted for him to rip rights away from the American people. I voted for him to deport you just because he can. Like, no.
But our fuck around and find out story today is the guy who voted for Trump, MAGA guy, and they just deported his wife to Peru. And you're like, oh, you didn't think because she's white and pretty, like that she was going to, I mean, they just didn't think it was going to happen to them. Right. It's, I don't know what to say about that. And I don't know, Joe. I mean, it's all I know is we can't give up. We can't just die. I mean, this is our too. And if you look at the polling and the town halls, that's why it's so critical that we have better leadership than Chuck Schumer right now, because, oh my God, let's not snatch defeat from the jaws of victory again. Right.
Right. He really is not.
Chuck, you and I are big Biden fans. Chuck Schumer's the one that went and knocked on Biden's door and told him it was time to go. I think it's time for Chuck Schumer to knock,
I think our whole party needs a little bit of a revamp and a refresh here, because we are looking old. We are looking like we're the dinosaurs who can't adapt because we can't. Because
so many different rules. We're playing by we need a vaginal rejuvenation, because that's that snatch is getting like a fucking hot dog down a hallway, musty. We are playing by some different set of rules, my friend.
We need a new snatch. We need a fresh, we need rejuvenation in our snatch.
That's our slogan, Democrats. We have a new snatch.
I would literally run with that. And gone are the days of being a hot dog down a hallway. Welcome.
We are tight as a cat's ass now.
I'd want to hit that, right? Like,
yeah.
But we're
come on, America, stop that.
Like we're old whores that have just been sitting around, dusty old whores. Come on, seriously. The other party, they like completely flipped upside down, turned themselves inside out. Now they're a fucking cult. The party of Reagan is like literally a fucking cult where they're like Mike Johnson is getting fillers and the spray tan shit. And we're like, oh, well, no, we're going to still go with the leaders who remember when dinosaurs roamed the earth. No, that's going to be us. We're going to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, God, even Pelosi and Jeffries came out against, Schumer. He's just wrong. I mean, I understand we're not, we're faced with a bunch of bad choices now, but I mean, that's the thing where I don't want to do the Democratic circular firing squad because you know what? Like, we didn't fucking turn out enough to give them the House, the Senate, and the White House. And like now everyone's like, well, the Democrats aren't doing anything. Well, how come you didn't get off your fucking ass? Vote,
Yeah. Well, yeah. That said, what I wish that they would do, I really wish that they would do right now is we've got 2 special elections coming up in Florida that were Republican held districts, Matt Gaetz and some other fucking person I don't know. Yeah. But we actually, and they're red districts. I have been giving this so much fucking attention because they are not, it's not impossible. Doug Jones won Alabama.
We had Josh Wheel on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. He's great.
Have you met Gay yet? Gay Valamont?
I have not.
Oh my God. Can I make that connection? Because she moves me to tears every time I hear her speak. You have to hear her story and why she's running, and it will. I don't think there'll be a dry eye.
And Josh is hot. I'm sure you'd want to fuck him, but that's the kind of the musty old whore you are.
I am that kind of musty old whore, and I can't say that I would want to fuck him because I've interviewed him twice, and that would be weird. But that would be weird. But I did interview Jim Acosta, and I would fuck Jim Acosta. Can I say that? As long as
I would fuck Jim Acosta, and I'm a big les.
Yeah, but I would fuck you, and I'm not a big lesbian. So see, it all comes around.
Well, listen, you know what? What happens at the DNC stays at the DNC. I'm denying all of it.
I wish Jim Acosta was at the DNC. Anyway, next time, if there's a next time,
I have to go do my show prep for the next round of fuckery. So
go do your show prep. I love you for just coming and talking to me. I miss you. I want to next time you have a party in California, let me know. I'll be there.
No, I know I should have. I know we just had Jill Sobule. She has a fantastic song called JD Vance is a cunt that really is something you could have written because who knew how many words rhyme with cunt? Alan Fun. Stunt. There's a lot of it's really quite remarkable. Yeah.
Gunt is good. Play on cunt.
Blunt.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Well, send me that song.
Blunt in there. She got
Shunt.
Yeah. I say this on the air that like we're all holding each other up, and it's more important than ever now. Like this. Like we talk to each other, we call each other, we text. It's not just like a showbiz thing or just that we're on each other's shows or whatever. You're you're my heart and soul. You're actually my friend. I mean, I call Bob Seska. I call you're all the bright lights to me that hold me up when I'm feeling like, oh God,
so, we need each other. We do. Anyway, the communities need each other. People need each other. They need people like you. They need warriors like you. They need people to make them laugh and feel seen. That's what you do, Steph. You're magic. You make people feel like they're not losing their fucking minds, which is what they need to see right now.
You too. I always say that you're made of part magic and part musty old snatch.
That's actually on my business card. That's so funny. It's right here. Musty old snatch and magic. Yeah. Well, Stephanie, I love you very much.
I love you, you saucy little minx.
And we got to do your after hours, the drinking one too. Yeah, so that we can swear on there. All right. So,
I love you dearly, and I'm so proud of you every day. You're fighting that good fight with your
proud of you every day. you're literally killing it every single day for 3 hours, 5 days a week. So, I mean, that is no fucking joke. Please. I mean, everyone I know on my podcast is listening is already a follower of yours. So like I'm speaking to the choir because that's most of my followers found me through you.
Do you feel like somebody said like my, cause you know, we have to, it's our business. It's like my, what do you call it? Desire to stay informed is competing with my desire to stay sane.
Yeah.
It really is hard. It's like, I can't turn off the news, but you're just like, when are we ever going to not go, oh, holy fuck, what did that orange motherfucker do now?
Honestly, I woke up this morning and I was like, what the fuck? And I pay attention every day. And I'm like, what the fuck? I went to sleep. All I did was go to sleep.
I know.
Can't even sleep. Well, yeah, the ability to stay sane and to stay sober because that wine is coming in very therapeutic lately. So, Lord,
if I can make a recommendation before you sleep, just masturbate. Think of me and America. Just lay back. Think of America.
As if I don't Star Spangled masturbate to you now. Say, can you see? Oh, say, come you see is how that song goes when it's Stephanie Miller. On that note,
I realized that we would have been the kids that were separated through entire like middle school. We're just like, no, those two are sitting together all the way through high school.
So keep them apart. Every health film, we would have been like, did you just say? Did you see that? Yeah, we would have been banned from being together forever. But it's in and look at us now. Thank you, Stephanie, for taking this time with me. I love you so much. Keep you so sane.
I love you, JoJo from Joy's.
I love you, Stephanie Miller. Okay, well, that concludes this episode of the Are You Effing Kidding Me podcast. Thank you so much to my guest, Stephanie Miller, who is a fucking badass and keeps me safe and sane and seen and all those wonderful things. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. Bye, Steph.